Have you ever noticed how sometimes the storms we're in, we actually created ourselves? Not all of them, of course, but definitely some.
And sometimes we pray for God to calm the storm, but he's actually using the storm to get our attention, not to punish us, but to pull us back to him.
You know the story of Jonah in the Bible? It's always reminded me of that. So if you're not familiar with it, here's the short version. There was a man named Jonah, and he was a prophet of God. One day, God told him to go to a city called Nineveh, and he was told to deliver a message of warning to the people. But Jonah didn't want to go. He didn't like the Ninevites. So instead of obeying God, he boarded a ship that was headed in the opposite direction. And that's when the storm hit. The winds picked up, the waves crashed, and the sailors on board thought the ship would break apart. They tried everything they knew to survive, but nothing worked.
Isn't that just like us, though? We try to fix the storms ourselves. Maybe row harder, hold tighter, find another way, until we finally realize we're not in control.
Finally, Jonah admitted that the storm was because of him, because he was running from God. He told the sailors to throw him overboard and the waves would stop. So reluctantly, they did. They threw him overboard and the sea went calm. But Jonah's story didn't end there. God sent a huge fish to swallow him. And Jonah spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the fish. Imagine that. He was in this belly all alone in total darkness with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It was just Jonah and God.
Sometimes God allows isolation so he can bring revelation. When everything else is stripped away, we finally see who we really are and who he really is.
That part of his story really hits me because I've been there. Maybe not in the belly of a fish, but certainly in the middle of a storm that I created myself. For me, it was active addiction, running from God, ignoring his voice, choosing my own way. And just like Jonah, my choices stirred up storms, not just in my own life, but in the lives of the people around me too. That's the hard truth. Our storms don't just affect us. They can rock the boat for the people who love us also. And then when Jonah ends up in the belly of the fish, that image, it gets me. He's all alone. Darkness is pressing in. There's no way out. Have you ever felt like that? Because I know I have. Like I said, addiction was my pit. It was my belly of the whale. I felt trapped, suffocated, like the bars of life had closed in around me forever. But then Jonah prays. He prays this prayer that has really stuck with me since I first heard it. He says, "To the roots of the mountains I went down, to the land whose bars closed upon me forever. Yet you brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. When my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord. And my prayer came to you into the holy temple."
You see, Jonah didn't pray a perfect prayer. He prayed a desperate one. And sometimes that's all God needs, a cry from the deep.
That hits me right in the soul because that's my story too. I remember being at the end of myself when my life was fainting away, and yet God was there. He heard my cry. He brought me out of the pit of addiction and gave me life again.
Just like Jonah, when I finally surrendered, God didn't just rescue me. He recommissioned me. He gave me purpose again.
That's what I love about Jonah's story. The storm wasn't the end. The belly of the whale wasn't the end. The pit wasn't the end. God used all of it, not to destroy Jonah, but to wake him up, to turn his heart back to God, and to remind him who was really in control. And get this, when Jonah finally obeyed and went to Nineveh, the people repented and God showed mercy. The very city Jonah ran from became a place of revival. That's what God can do with a surrendered heart. He turns rebellion into redemption. And listen, I don't know what storm you're facing right now. Maybe it's one you didn't cause at all. Or maybe, like me and Jonah, you've made choices that brought you here. But this is what I want you to hear. The storm isn't the end. The pit isn't the end. God hears your prayers, even from the darkest of places. And guess what? He's still in the business of bringing people up out of the pit. So if you feel trapped, if you feel like the bars have closed around you forever, take hope. Cry out to Jesus, because the same God who rescued Jonah, the same God who pulled me out of addiction, is the same God who wants to rescue you now. Because with him, the storm doesn't get the final word. The pit doesn't get the final word. God does. Let Jonah's story remind you that no matter how far you run, you're never too far gone. God's mercy still reaches to the depths of the sea. Psalm 139, 9 and 10 says, "If I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast." And if you're going through a storm right now, I want you to leave a comment below, because I would love to pray for you. And if this message encouraged you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can grow in faith together.